So this will be quick tonight.
We're being
Let's actually, let me see. Let's bring this meeting to order. It's April 19th, 2022, Newburyport Conservation Commission meeting taking place on the Zoom platform. This meeting is being recorded. First item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from April 5th.
I have a question about the minutes. So I may just not have been understanding exactly what you were saying, Julia, but I thought when it came to 11 Flora Street, that there was talk about telling them to not add mulch, but to take away the mulch that was already there. But maybe I wasn't understanding what the point was you were trying to make, because I noticed in the minutes it didn't say anything about removing mulch. It just said no additional mulch.
Yeah, I think it wasn't actually decided at the meeting that there was no directive to them to remove the mulch.
Okay.
I think Dan, suggested it. I had said that I didn't like seeing it there, etc., that it wouldn't be approved now. But because, the hearing wasn't closed, there was no order of conditions being voted on, there was no special condition that was like, you have to remove the mulch. And I think it's one of these things where it's like, we'd like them to remove the mulch, but given that it's an existing condition, I'm not sure you all were ready to tell them they had to. So, but luckily since then I have spoken with the applicant and they are saying that they will remove the mulch and replace it with native plantings.
Okay, so that was my only question about the minutes, because I thought I remembered the conversation and I thought it was more definitive than that. So
yeah, I think you had mentioned not to bring any more. Don't put any more on there, but since it's existing.
Yeah.
Okay, having said that, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Roll call. Steve Moore.
Yes.
Dan Warshaw.
Yes.
Carol Wagon.
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right. Next item is Plum Island updates. I think our video is the only Plum Island update we have.
Pretty much, yeah. Apparently this storm has done a lot more damage than anyone expected out there. It's pulled some of the posts out of the core bag erosion control system. They were floating in the water, as you could all see from the video. So it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not sure what the follow-up on this is going to be. I responded back to the mayor, and if they put together a meeting with GZA and DPS and everybody, I asked for them to let me know. So I can keep you guys informed of that if anything changes.
Are the core bags themselves intact?
They seem to be intact. The core bags are still intact, but given that those posts have come out, at least some of them, obviously a lot of the posts are still there. There were a lot of posts put in to secure the system. But, I guess we should be concerned that maybe now that they've been destabilized, it's the core bags could start to shift as well. But I couldn't see that from the video, and no one has mentioned that at this point. I haven't been out there to look at it, so.
So nobody's asking us to do anything at this point?
No, not at this point. And I think people really don't know what to do at this point. It has to kind of be assessed and determine if there is anything we can do and what that would be. So I'll just keep you guys up to date if anything comes up next week about that, or in the meantime.
It looked like there was some bad flooding on, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
no, like there was some bad flooding under one of those houses, and I didn't know if that was the one that had already been damaged in the last storm, if that was new.
So in the first video, the longer video where you could see the posts floating in the water, when you also saw the wave come over and sort of water rush down underneath the house on pilings and then sort of down to the lower house behind it. That lower house behind it with all the water going by, that is 1075th Street. That's on our agenda. That's Mr. Kingman's home, and he wants to elevate that up on pilings. So we do have a notice of intent before us to take care of that house. But it will, also require this dredge project to make sure that whatever is in that location moving forward remains safe. But then the second video, I believe, is shown from the house at the end of 77th Street. So that's slightly further northward.
Oh, I only saw the one.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, I only got one video.
Oh, I didn't send you. I got a second video later. There's a second video which shows a little bit more of what was happening at 77th Street, just a little bit further up from there. I'll resend that to you next week. I'm not going to be in the office until then, but it's essentially just a really short, quick video of just a little further north.
Okay.
This weekend, though, Mr. Blatt, who lives at the end of 77th Street, Louis Blatt, is doing some beach grass planting out there in the dune area that does still exist and is threatened right now at the end of 77th Street. He's got something like 2,000 culms of American beach grass and is looking for volunteers to help install those on Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. He's asking for volunteers to meet the end of 77th Street. So if anyone's interested, or if you know anyone who would be interested in helping with that and want to let them know, that's what's going on there this weekend.
Okay. All right.
Julia, you know, it was interesting that was a good video in that it's showing those are ocean swells coming all the way in. As long as that channel is dredged, because of the channel is a straight shot right to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Ocean swells are going to come in if there's nothing to block it. There's not much can be done out there. I mean, those are gonna rip that beach apart until the sandbar develops to dissipate that energy before it gets there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, doesn't sound good when you put it that way. The consequences of the dredge could be bad in terms of additional erosion, but it will also put, you know, almost 300,000 cubic yards of sand right on that beach. And just that in and of itself could potentially change the current dynamics that are causing this gyre. It's so unknown at this point. We just have to hope that that sand gets on the beach soon.
Yep. At this point. All right, let's move on to our one and only actual discussion tonight. Certificates of compliance, requested determinations, minor mods, etc. Stephen French, 164 Water Street, request for determination.
Okay, Mr. French is here as an attendee. I'm going to promote him to a panelist. So Steve, I'm promoting you to be a panelist. You should sort of be able to unmute yourself and speak if you'd wish. I'm going to pull up the project location. This is 164 Water Street, the corner of Water and Bromfield. And the subject of the RDA is this garage, this existing garage, which is right here. So Mr. French, if you'd like to just give a brief overview of what your proposed work involves for the commission.
Sure thing. Thanks, Julia. Hey, everyone. So yeah, we have a small one stall garage. It's not a historic structure. It's deteriorated, and what we've developed working with a local architect is to rebuild it into another one-car garage with a small room above, sort of fashioned like a carriage house that would match the colonial architecture of the antique house. So it's basically same footprint, same exact location, just looking to make those improvements.
And so the reason why this is before the commission is because it is in the AE flood zone, and the elevation, the base flood elevation in that zone is 12. So that triggered the need for approval by the commission. So the reason why we settled on an RDA is because they got an elevation certificate done. And the elevation certificate, as you can see right here, shows that the base flood elevation is 12 and that the elevation on site at the bottom of the, the floor of the existing garage is 13.1 feet. So it is already above base flood elevation. And They are rebuilding it in place. And here's the plan. Let's see, these are their project plans. Okay, you can see right here, this is the sort of proposed new garage with a finished floor elevation of 13.4. So it's a little bit above existing. There's really no change.
So are those stairs interior to the building or exterior?
So those stairs are interior. The ground level that Julia explained was at 13 feet is the garage space. So it's not finished space. There is a finished room above, one level up, that the stairs lead to.
Okay.
And so that's consistent with the land subject to coastal storm flowage regulations requiring, them to make sure that there's no living space that would be subject to impacts of sea level rise, 40 inches, etc. So because this is an existing garage, the garage space is sort of sacrificial, I guess you could say. If there were sea level rise that raised that base flood elevation, the living space would still be above that.
Assuming the flood didn't take out the garage below,
Right.
Which we hope it won't. Yeah, I've got no issues with this.
Yeah.
Males have anything? Okay. In that case.
For a -2 determination?
Yes.
Second.
All right, roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
Okay,
everyone. Appreciate it.
Steve, I will, everything is all set. I'll just send this to you in the mail next week so you have a copy. Okay.
All right. Thanks so much, Julia. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
All right. Get a motion to open the public hearings.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
and I vote yes. First item on the agenda is Raymond Kingman, 1075th Street. Notice of intent. They have requested a continuance to the next meeting, Julie?
Yes, to the May 3rd meeting. That's the next meeting.
Motion to continue to the May 3rd meeting.
Second.
All right, roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, Michael and Michelle Ewick. I have no idea how to pronounce that properly. 11 Flora Street, notice of intent. They have also requested a continuance to the May 5th meeting.
Yeah, to the May 3rd meeting.
Oh, 3rd. All right.
Yeah.
What is DEP's issue with this? Something about the riverfront or?
Yeah, so DEP has highlighted that this is they're calling this riverfront area, and so they want the applicant to address the Riverfront Protection Act standards. It's subject to debate in terms of whether or not this is riverfront area or not. It's on the basin, and so when you look at the definition of a river, water has to be flowing in one direction continuously. And that's not really what's happening in the basin. And when you look on the map, you see the Merrimack River, and then you see the basin as this sort of separate offshoot. But when you look on another map, and another definition says that the riverfront area starts at the mouth of a river and upstream from the mouth of a river. And the map that shows the mouth of the river shows that it would include the basin. So it's sort of like a toss-up. And also on Plum Island, when we look at these applications, the dune protection standards, barrier beach, land subject to coastal storm flowage, our own regulations, so much override whatever would come into play for riverfront area typically, that the riverfront area regs are almost irrelevant in most cases. So, but DEP really wants them to address it separately.
But I mean, we've approved many things out there on the basin, and this has never come up before.
Exactly. It has never come up before. It's really interesting. And they brought it up with Tom's project too, 1075th Street, which actually is right. More so you would consider 1075th Street on the river than you would these homes on the basin. But regardless, they don't usually comment on houses on the riverside either. So it's just interesting to see them starting to make these comments. I mean, I'm fine with it. It's more scrutiny on the applications coming before us. But in some cases, in this case, it seems a little bit like a stretch.
Well, I guess they get to stretch if they want to.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to continue to May 3rd.
Second.
All right, roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Can I get a motion to close the public hearings?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The only other thing is 3Q Street, and I don't know if anybody wants to talk about it. I'm open to not talking about it tonight until we get the other two gentlemen here. But Julie, you had something.
Yeah, I can just report that there will be a report. A report will be coming from the coastal engineer who was out last week taking a look at the wall. She did a pretty thorough investigation. It was low tide. She went all around, up and down the whole length of the wall, and on both sides. And she's going to put together a report about what she considers to be the impact of the repair job that was done, as well as what she would consider to be the most appropriate way for them to maintain the wall or fix it moving forward. We should get that next week, hopefully. So let's see if I can report on anything else. That's really, other than that, they would like to, I mean, I know we talked about having them just do whatever required work is to be done, have them do it under the enforcement order. But rather than do this after the fact notice of intent, I think a better way might be to have them do an after the fact RDA, because we still get the plans, we still get all the details and specifications, and we get a document that goes to DEP, but we don't have to go through the whole notice of intent. And it's not really required because we have them under the enforcement order anyway. But this just allows us to have a written application, a formal application. So I don't know if you all would agree to that, but I thought that was a good way to move forward.
I guess I wouldn't have a huge issue with that. It's just how does Mr. Powers do that for something that's not on his property?
Yeah, well, they would have to do it jointly. And the city would have to sign off on it. So that's what they're working on, or we would have to start working on.
Okay.
What other options do we have at this point?
I mean, we could just, well, I think it's actually really important just to see what the report says, because it's hard to know what's even involved in the work moving forward until we get that. So maybe we wait till next week.
Yeah, I'm fine waiting for that report. We have options. We can order them to remove everything if we want to, but we should take a look at the report first.
Is the report being done at our behest, or the city's, or the owner?
The report is being done because the commission considers the changes made to the wall a violation because they were not approved. And so in order to understand whether or not those changes can be approved, we need an engineer to look at that, because that's what we would have required if they had come to us the way they should have beforehand and said, here's what we want to do. We would have said, well, let's see some engineering. Let's see what really should be done out there. Let's see whether or not what you're proposing to do is going to be harmful or beneficial, and at what level, and, you know, maybe approve it, maybe not. So this is just after the fact, getting that sort of engineering review done. And so they're doing it. We asked for it. They're doing it.
Who's paying for it?
They're paying for it.
Yeah, generally we don't pay for things like that.
I thought maybe the city was. I didn't know.
No. I tried to get the city to come out. I couldn't schedule Jamie Tucolo, DPS Deputy Director, or John Eric on that day. John Eric was out of town and Jamie was unavailable. And it was the only time that this woman, Lisa O'Donnell, was able to come. So we just decided that they could look at her report, and if they have questions or concerns, they can address it after that.
Okay.
You know, you said the report we're expected, we expect to see that next week. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Will it be provided to us promptly? So
I
that
hope
time
so.
to review it?
That's a good question. And because we sometimes don't get things in time, but I will ask that Tom sends it to us immediately, so that you all can have time to review it and make some determinations about how you want to see things forward.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to receive something on the day of the meeting and then be expected to discuss it with any knowledge or, you know, clarity.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right.
I don't know if anybody's driven down Colby Farm Lane lately, but I think it was back on April 9th. The pollinator people got out there and covered 3,000 square feet of that field with plastic. Dug up all the multiflora rows, weed whacked all the grass down, got rid of all the weeds. You know, 1,000 square feet will get uncovered in September and some plants put in. And then the other 2,000 square feet will remain over the winter and then have seed put on the ground. So I went out there and helped them. I was surprised we actually got it all done. It was a lot of work, but looking pretty good. We'll see what happens. So it's a long-term thing.
It's cool.
Steve, that's great. Thank you so much for helping and you know, helping expand it a little bit. And
yeah.
Now, one question I have regarding the plastic covering, obviously, is designed to, you know, basically kill everything,
right?
Get a fresh start. What about seeds that are in the soil that, you know, have a longer, I guess not germination period, but a longer period of viability buried?
Well, the plan is we're going to leave the plastic on there for like 5 weeks, then remove it for a week and let those weed seeds or whatever germinate, and then cover it back up and do that over, you know, 2 or 3 times over the summer. So that things that survive the first initial cooking will have light for a week and rain for a week or so, and they'll germinate, and then we'll cover it back up and recook them. So hopefully that'll solve that problem.
Yeah, great. That sounds good. I'm sure it'll reduce very significantly the number of you know, weeds and everything in there, and give you a good opportunity to start fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I plan to go out there, I don't know, sometime and remove some of the multiflora rows. We dug up the ones that would, you know, in the area we wanted to cover. And except for a couple of really big ones, it was pretty easy to get them out of there. So
Yeah, they pull up fairly easy.
yeah. They
Then
do
they
have
grow
some nasty stickers though.
Yes, yeah, yes, they do. Okay. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All right, roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
yes.
Carol Wagon.
Yes.
I vote yes. Julie's already all set to take off wherever she's going. Jeez.
I gotta go to North Carolina tomorrow morning at like 4 a.m.
Oh my God.
You gotta.
I need to go to sleep early.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to wear a mask on the airplane supposedly now.
Yeah.
I heard that. I don't
Mhm.
know if I still might do that on the airplane.
I would wear one anyway.
Oh, I'm always going to wear it on the airplane from now on. Keeps you from getting sick before your vacation.
Yep.
Or limits the chance. So.
Well, have a great trip, Julia.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good night.
Enjoy.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Bye,
See you guys
everybody.
later.
See ya.
See you
Good
later.
night.
Bye.